Big Bang Theory, all that is lies straight from the pit of hell.
Climate change is not science, it's religion.
Carbon dioxide is natural. It is not harmful. It is a part of Earth's life cycle.
Someday scientists will come to see that only the theory of intelligent design provides even a remotely rational explanation.
Man-made climate change is real and not concocted by liberal scientists who found some way to profit off saying so. Vaccination is necessary, and there's no evidence it makes your child autistic. There is also no evidence of elitist transgender Mexican lizard people out to take your job. How could someone blatantly reject a concept overwhelmingly backed with provable evidence? Even more, how can a whole group of normally functioning people actually buy the snake oil being peddled by transparent profiteers? Well,
I'm not a scientist.
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 I'm not a scientist, and I've got the grades to prove it.
I'm not qualified to debate the science over climate change.
but I've got a few ideas. It's a funny thing to say the phrase, I'm not a scientist. For one, it makes you imagine some high and mighty lab-coated brainiac locked up in a sterile room, cut off from mankind, a threat of geniocracy, but that's not true. Scientists are in the field. They're living, breathing people who have the same feelings and problems as us salt-of-the-earth normies. Also, think of this. Politicians don't say, I'm not a foreign relations expert, I'm not an economist, I'm not an accountant, I don't hold advanced degrees in African American studies or Middle Eastern relations, and yet they still don't stop expressing opinions about all these subjects and more. You can almost feel the contempt. I'm not a scientist. But here I go warping the truth about studies. Like this.
2014 has been the warmest year on record. I asked the chair, you know what this is? It's a snowball, and that's just from outside here. So it's very, very cold out, very unseasonal. So here, Mr. President, catch this.
Oh, he was so pleased to toss that snowball on the floor. And yes, data did show the year Republican Senator James Inhofe made a mess on the carpet like a self-satisfied 5-year-old was the hottest year to date on record. I'm sure many of you watching this were immediately aware of extreme weather changes that are part of climate change, wherein parts of the country, say the northeastern and midwest United States, could become much colder than average, but at the same time, warmer than average temperatures could prevail elsewhere in other parts. Furthermore, it's a tiny sample size to base your entire argument against climate change on. That's just bad science. Or, should I say, manipulative rhetoric. And this happens a lot. And it's easy. All you do is claim science is too nebulous to understand, too high-minded for us dumb folk. You cherry-pick data, like when Lamar Smith approved of this Breitbart article citing cherry-pick data from one study describing a fluctuation in a very specific time period, and then neglected to say the temperature decrease was not for the Earth's surface, where we live, but for the troposphere. In the face of long-spanning, overwhelming evidence, some politicians would bend over backwards to warp, manipulate, and misrepresent information for one reason and one reason only: what it always is. Republican Committee on Science, Space, and Technology Chairman Lamar Smith, a climate science denier, has taken over $770,000 in career campaign contributions from the oil and gas and electric utility industries. But who's going to fact-check something a politician never says about themselves? Not us, the voting public. Not the media. Not if we follow the rhetoric to keep us ignorant. Whether the time Newton's gravitational theories got him laughed at and accused of having occult agencies, or the time the Pope threatened to torture Galileo and did end up condemning him to life house arrest for saying the sun does not revolve around the Earth, people have a long history of rejecting scientific theories later proven very right, and also being huge asshole babies about it. It's still happening. Why? Because it's a threat. It's dangerous to those with money and to those with power. The takeaways here: follow the evidence. Make your representatives show you their evidence. Keep your eye on the money. Tribalism is hard to break, but ultimately it's unnecessary and often a fairly insulting attempt to control and pacify you, like I just said, for the money. Demanding more and using knowledge and reasoning make you very dangerous indeed. Stay dangerous. Thank you for watching The Young Turks. You can catch more of me at Kim Scorcher on Twitter, Kim Horcher Official on Facebook, and just my damn name on Instagram, but not literally that.